Cisse. Cross to Ousseynou Ba. That's the left and the right of the Olympiacos back three, with Ruben Semedo in the middle. The early moments of this half, the feature of it was Drager and Rafinha getting up higher than they had at any point in the first half, but pattern coming back a little more now. Sterling way short with that pass. Camara read it, stole it. Yanavila. He's given it away to Mendy, who's on the charge. Foden with him. That's where the ball goes. Gundogan. Perfect weight on that pass. Mendy with the cross, just behind Bernardo. And Raheem Sterling's first touch needed to be softer. Cisse did the first bit very nicely. The pass was a shocker. Not that that's his job. He's quickly back, filling in now as Manchester City start another rebuild. Olympiacos just gently shuttle back into position. Sterling picks up an interesting position just in between the lines there. Gabriel Jesus, deflection, corner. And now gone as Gundogan delivers. Cancelo. Good hands from Jose Sa. Sergio Aguero, part of the Manchester City bench this evening. The former son-in-law, of course, of the departed Diego Maradona. I'm sure feeling it as much as anyone at this stadium. Today's sad news. Mendy with the block, Ba with the clearance. Up steps John Stones, there's Gundogan. And again, he's been able to run this match, Ilkay Gundogan. It's a very difficult ball for Raheem Sterling to control. Half an hour to play. How ambitious dare Olympiacos be? Proud home record was always likely to be tested here, and maybe even some people would say likely to go. 7 played, 7-1 in all competitions. They're looking for an equaliser for now, never mind the win. It's Drager's cross. Masouras was the one man in the middle, and it would have had to have been extremely precise to find him. Camera looking it through for Masouras himself. That was rather closer to finding its target. Big week for them, Olympiacos. They've got Aris away at the weekend. That's the team they lead only by goal difference at the top of the table. And then a match, whether they're talking about coming second or third in this group, will be pivotal in that regard. They are at Marseille next Tuesday evening. If they don't get anything out of this, they will have to get something from that. Jesus regains his feet to find Sterling. Oh, Jesus down there. I don't think he'd have got onto the ball, but that doesn't mean it's not a foul by Ruben Semedo. You have to be very careful, especially now with that kind of challenge. Gundogan trusting his touch, and then Bernardo likewise. Cancelo again, and again, Joao Cancelo, it's straight at the keeper. Really sharp Manchester City move that nearly ended with a third Champions League goal for Joao Cancelo. Ambitious from the right back, playing like an inside forward. Lovely exchange, shame about the finish. Having done so well with the give and go, the burst forward, it's a great opportunity for him there. He has scored before, incidentally, but only once for Manchester City in the Champions League and once in the League Cup. The one he got in this competition was the last time these two met. He's making a run forward again now. Gundogan. Foden. Lovely balance and footwork from Phil Foden. Then he left the ball behind for someone who wasn't there. Fortounis goes down looking for a free kick. David Imasa was perfectly positioned to see that nothing was going on. Foden to Sterling. They're not in the clear yet. They're just starting to push a bit harder, you feel, Manchester City here. Raheem Sterling onside, in towards Bernardo. Then it arrived at Bernardo via a deflection. He's very much lost the goal-scoring touch. This was certainly onside. A very sharp chance for him, of course. Improvisation required, but his first couple of seasons he found goals far easier to come by. He's actually only scored twice for City in all competitions since January. His last was in July. Now Mohamed Draga off here, and replacing him for his Champions League debut is Marius Vrusai. There was a thought locally that Vrusai might actually start this game. He's going to get on for the last 25 minutes or so. This game is still a contest because it's only 1-0. If you missed it, a very sharp Manchester City at their best kind of goal from Phil Foden in the first half. Vrusai's first meaningful moment. Gundogan. And he kept that in. Or did he? Late flag up on the far side. Well, they have extra muscle and extra quality, Manchester City. There he is. Sterling turning on the speed. Past Villa in a flash. Bernardo. Foden. Still his goal, the only goal. Eight Premier League games for Manchester City. Shut out rarely at the weekend. 5 times they've scored a single goal. Is this to be another? We're just approaching the time where they've tended to break free in these Champions League games. And Foden here has half a chance from a difficult angle, admittedly, to do just that. We will see the Olympiacos change here. It's definitely onside, Foden. He'd have done very well to steer that header in fairness to him.
Substitution for Olympiacos, replacing Pepe, Andreas Bouchalakis.
Pepe is just beginning to establish himself in this team, and he has made way here for Andreas Bouchalakis. More good minutes in the legs for a summer signing who's missed so much of the season with injury, so that's some good news. A minor victory for Pedro Martins tonight. Now Bouchalakis is on to try and help him to achieve something rather more important. It's very good here on match night 1, Bouchalakis. He and Camara
trying to just hold the line, trying to hold their runs from beyond the offside line. It's played through to Mendy. Mendy into the penalty area, cuts it back to the edge of the box, and a missed kick from Bernardo. It was fizzed into him in truth. And for Pep Guardiola to think about his first change of the match. He's got the likes of Sergio Aguero, Alexander Zinchenko, Riyad Mahrez, all waiting in the wings on the bench. I think Mahrez's fresh legs could really make a difference, welcoming on in one of the wide positions. You have got a sub ready to come back to Sterling. On as we get a close-up. There's a chance for City though into the penalty area. Shot across the face of goal from Bernardo, I believe. Goes just wide of target. And they can now make the substitution, Man City. It's a double change, and Fernandinho is one of the players who's going to come on. That last move was Foden's pass to Bernardo, and then it just dribbled wide of target from
Armband he takes from Raheem Sterling. He's missed a month. In fact, his last game was the matchday 2 win over Porto. That was the aforementioned match in which Manchester City conceded the only goal that they have done in the group. Riyad Mahrez newly introduced here. Familiar movement of him on the right side, but cutting in onto his very favoured left. Mahrez to Mendy. It's a more accurate cross this time from Mendy. Gets it back from Phil Foden. And wins a throw. If they do need to rediscover the goal-scoring touch, and clearly domestically they do, Manchester City do have Burnley next this weekend, a club against whom they traditionally enjoy themselves a great deal. 4s and 5s, a regular thing when those two meet, and not for Burnley. Maybe one will be enough for them tonight. It often hasn't been this season. So Zinchenko on here for Benjamin Mendy.
Substitution for Manchester City, replacing
And Sergio Aguero also entering the field. On a night, I'm sure, of some emotion for a proud Argentine. He replaces Gabriel Jesus.
Substitution for Olympiacos, replacing Masouras and Sudani.
With Masouras making way for Hilal Sudani. And the latest change for Olympiacos there. 33 years old today, Hilal Sudani, the Algerian, and his 50th appearance in UEFA competition to mark it. Zinchenko straight onto the ball for Manchester City, slotting in the left-back position. We've got 12 minutes plus stoppage time, and there's still only one goal in it. For all the domination of the football, it's a familiar story for Manchester City. Here's Riyad Mahrez. Well read by Ruben Semedo. Joao Cancelo underlapping, and Ruben Semedo twisted the referee's arm there with a look and a plea having gone down. Sudani, another fill-in job high up the field, even if it's not his usual position. Did play in England a little, Hilal Sudani, albeit not against Manchester City, for Nottingham Forest. A club who, a long, long time ago, lifted the trophy that is the end game for the teams in this year's Champions League. Manchester City, of course, have relatively recent arrivals to that particular table. But semi-finalists 5 seasons ago, they joined their best effort. Quarter-final defeats as well, including some surprising ones. Here's Zinchenko as they look for the second goal that would surely put this game to bed. They still go through with a draw, remember, regardless of what happens in the later match between Marseille and Porto. Pep Guardiola has had a period of time this season without either of his favoured front two strikers. So the fact that he's got both of them fit and available now will be a worry to all adversaries. Sergio Aguero missed much of this calendar year. He's not going to get round Ruben Semedo there. Came back in mid-October, Aguero, after 4 months out. Missed most of the restarted Premier League season in the summer. He's just been missing for another couple of games, having come back, but fingers crossed for him and his boss that all is okay now. Rafinha, back for Pape Cissé. Closed down by Mahrez. What an excellent ball from Pape Cissé to find Soudani. Flag up against Olympiacos here. Emerson hasn't really, Edison, excuse me, has not had to do much to justify his position there this evening, I think it's fair to say. Barely laid a glove on the ball. Soudani was well offside. The assistant perfectly in position to see that. Mahrez on the chase. Jose Sarr could therefore not afford to wait for that to arrive into his 18-yard box. Excellent from Rafinha, back to Fortounis, and now Pape Cissé again. And Villa. Everyone claiming that one. Gundogan without a challenge in sight. Zinchenko, clever ball back to Gundogan. Back to Zinchenko. 5 in the box. Boukalakis with a calming touch to Madi Camara. Fortounis to Soudani. Couple of good balls in there. The returning Fernandinho with a foul. 6 games out he's had. Always much missed. Played a lot more in central defence than central midfield in recent seasons, Fernandinho, but such a big part of their central midfield in their really dominant spell a few years ago in English football. And Pedro Martins would have loved 2 things: to have home fans here making it a hostile environment for Manchester City to come to, and to have anything like a first choice side out to challenge Pep Guardiola a little more than he's been able to do. They're not buried yet though. Bernardo. Mahrez. Comes in field to where the traffic is. Fernandinho keeps it moving to Gundogan. Neat from Foden, not so neat with the pass. Boukalakis back to Mvila. Foden keeping him on his toes. Vrusai. Neat enough possession, but a very long way from the Manchester City goal. Stroke of good luck as it comes through to Fortounis, aptly enough, who was fouled, and Gundogan has been cautioned for that. Needless, couldn't help himself, and he sees his name taken as a result. Looks as if that will be his last action, actually. Gundogan is going to be replaced by Tommy Doyle here. Another lovely moment for a young Manchester City hopeful, with the club very much in his blood. Both his grandfathers played, which is a pretty impressive lineage. The foul on Fernandinho there before the header from Ruben Semedo had even been made. It's a vote of confidence for young Doyle. And he gets to come onto the field here, not at 3 or 4-0 up, but at 1-0 up. Scored a goal at the weekend, direct from a free kick, Tommy Doyle, in a Premier League 2 match against Chelsea. Might find it harder to secure free kick duties at senior level, you'd imagine. 3 minutes plus stoppage time before Manchester City are confirmed as already through. Clearly good news for Pep Guardiola that he may have the luxury of a little more rotation. Quite often match days 5 and 6 are tense and tight. Plenty on the line. They are clear top as it stands with 12, 6 clear of Porto, who play Marseille later. It's a very handy cushion. Rafinha. Olympiacos retain an interest here. Big deflection on the Rafinha cross, and Fernandinho controlled it well, but then gave it away. It's a very ambitious effort, and I thought for a moment Ederson was going to have to make a save for Tunis. Well worth a hit, certainly, having been gifted it. Ederson will tell you who had it covered. It's a bit of a slice in the end. Tough technique, though, for a forward in form for club and country. But a rare sight of goal for him tonight. It's come with 88 minutes played. Stunning distribution from Ederson, and Riyad Mahrez controlled it with his arm. Famed for it, isn't he, the Brazilian keeper? And that was extraordinarily precise from such a long way. It's not a surprise as such, but still, you can be mightily impressed by it. Passing range, great central midfielders would be jealous of. Well, they might as well go for it now, Olympiacos, that's for sure, even if it means conceding a second. They're not going to have a case of make or break in this group for it finishing 1-0 or 2-0. That's highly unlikely to be the case, so might as well go for that full court press now. Got to get it forward, though, relatively quickly. We're about to find out how much added time we're going to have. It's not been full of stoppages either. Apart from the substitutions, we've not had a goal. We've not really had any injury to speak of in this second half. For Tunis. Soudani to his left. That's what he was looking for. He's got Camara with him, and here is Camara. And right up from the back there, perhaps Cisse, providing the physical presence in the box. He won his header, and that's all he was able to do.
Injury time, 4 minutes.
Cancelo, always likely to be beaten in the air by a giant defender there, but did enough from that range out. It would have been mightily impressive of Cisse to pop it in. Half a minute into the first of the 4 added then. Olympiacos were wondering whether Aguero was offside in the first place. It's actually been given as a foul against him. He had a moment or two to think that he might have been in on goal there. Didn't look a great deal wrong with the challenge on Hussein Ubar, did there? Cisse using that physicality again. Unduly in the eyes of David Massa, and you can see what Pedro Martins thinks of it. Ruben Dias stays down. He's not had an aerial battle in this game. He was nudged off it there, as the centre-back continues to be deployed as a centre-forward here, be a target man. Ruben Dias has had the far smaller Fortounis and Mazuras to deal with all night long, and he's now eating up time that Olympiacos do not have. With the hold-up player, Cisse rather with the hold-up play as the stacked-in centre-forward. Camera's given it away very cheaply. Fernandinho here. Cancelo. Got a minute and a half to try and pass it around Manchester City. Maybe, if they're feeling adventurous, something more forward-thinking. Foden here decides against the cross. And Foden gives it away really cheaply. Fortounis. Rafinha. Brusai to Bukalakis. Got to get it forward. We've only got half a minute. Keeping the ball in the half is not going to serve any purpose. And it's been given away. Referee decides not to give that as a free kick for a foul on Riyad Mahrez. It looked like he might have been blocked off. It's probably not going to matter now, unless they're very, very quick. Olympiacos with Soudani here. And that's very calmly done by young Doyle. Manchester City confirm their place in the last 16 with 2 games to spare. Struggling in the Premier League, certainly, by their own very high standards, but no such issues in Europe for Pep Guardiola and his men. Once again, not at their fluid best here, but they were once in the first half when it mattered. A very nicely made and scored goal by Phil Foden enough here. As for the Greek champions, well, they're going to have to finish the group very strongly and may even need some help from elsewhere. For Manchester City, though, it is a case of job done at the earliest possible juncture. 4 group games played, 4 group games won. 1-0 winners away at Olympiacos tonight.